business users across functions?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm AJ. Um, Thank you, Ilyas, for the question. So from a data democratization point of view, I think this is a concept that has been there for a while and is also prevalent widely across many organizations already. There was a gentleman who did the presentation on Terminos, and we were also talking about Copilot or product Copilots and etc. So essentially what we do with data democratization is that we empower our users with data so that they can take better decisions with the insights. So that's what data democratization is, right? So earlier data was something that people used to keep centrally and protect it, right? So this was also the case when technology was growing. Even a few only used computers in companies, others didn't get access. A few only had internet, others didn't have access, right? A few only had apps, others didn't have access, right? So this is a natural evolution of where data moves into a data democratization, and this has been happening over a period of time. So what it does is that if we keep saying that data is the fuel, um, this is more like refining that fuel and giving it to the petrol pump so that people can consume whenever they want to, however they want to, the easy way that they can take it, and make the best out of it, right? So I think that way, not just us, but most of the banks and others as well have done a lot of work already in bringing insights on the applications that users use today. It's not just for the front line, it's not just for operations, but you see this even in HR, you see it in risk. Anyone today makes a decision based on trends and based on data that they see. And that is extremely powerful, and that people did not have a few years ago.
Great. Thank you, AJ, for those insights. So my next question is Faisal Anwar to you. That, and we're changing gears a little bit. We talk about a little bit about cybersecurity and risk in AI. That one of the biggest risks in AI is trust, right? I mean, we we're not exactly sure about the decision making that AI takes place, and there is a little bit lack of explainability. So how can banks ensure that AI-driven decisions remain ethical and transparent and auditable?
So thank you, Ilyas, for asking me the most difficult question of the day just before lunch. So marks my day. So I think there are a couple of things. The way I would articulate this is, number one is the regulatory aspect that the banks needs to do. Then is the transparency. Then you look at the authenticity of that data. And last but not the least, the availability of those models available. So regulation put on one side, but when you're building a model, you need to make sure that you take the elements out first, number one, which is more related to hyper-personalization, which is to rightly tag to the individual, because the moment you start feeding in that synthetic data, you start kind of making the model bias. That's number one. You need to make sure the synthetic data feed that is going into the model is covering enough data points that makes it a neutral model. Because when we talk about this authenticity can only be established with the transparency. So giving you a context, if you feed to a model a gender-based data set, which is largely, let's say, around male-dominated, which it happens to be, even the room is male-dominated for now. So the outcome of the model would be more biased towards giving decisions whenever an input of a prompt is coming from a gender which is male-based.
Absolutely, yeah.
However, where you can say that, okay, a salaried class could be a male or a female. So if you take that gender biasness out from the model, then you are talking about more decisioning prompt from risk profiling compared to its gender profiling. The same applies to when you go further deep down, you need to take ethnicity out from the context. So and the race and so many other data points which can lead to a model which can start making biased decisions. Once you do that, you make the data set more transparent. When it becomes more transparent, it becomes more authentic.
Yeah.
That's one. You need to make sure that the model that is taking the feed in has ample amount of historical data and the geographical event to make it a very authentic response to that data set. So, for example, you need to have couple of Eids and a couple of, let's say, Christmas and so other many events put into that place so that the outcome of the data set is very, very authentic and yet very transparent.
Absolutely.
So once you do that, and that, while I close that point, so hence I always say this, that while you adopt the AI, the most important part of delivering this in a very authentic manner is how effectively do you govern your data set. So it's not about feeding the data to the model, it's about how well you govern the model and how accurate and the quality of your data set is to make sure that the AI output is more authentic.
I think
I've
that's
taken a bit longer route, but
no, I think that's very well articulated. So the quality of the data set that goes in and the governance of that data, I think those were the two key takeaways for me. So thank you very much, Faisal, for that. Faisal,